Hello, good afternoon. I'm Dr. S.K. Sharma. Very happy to be here to be speaking on semiconductors. I will first introduce myself. I'm Director for Electronics, also for ESDM, Semiconductors and Energy Storage for Government of Telangana. And it's a pleasure being here and speaking to you all today. The presentation as such is divided into four parts. Initially, I'll be doing the historical perspective part of it and explaining as to what is the history of semiconductors in India, followed by the current situation that exists in our country and what's happening as far as this manufacturing is concerned, after which I will speak to you about the way ahead for us and then finally, very important aspect as to what is the options for the states of India as far as the provincial part is concerned, because I will be considering central government to be the federal government and the states to be provincial government, as it is called across the world, which makes it easier for us to understand and also for international audience to understand. Coming to the historical perspective, history of semiconductor in India goes back to 1976 when the semiconductor laboratory was established in Mohali, Punjab. And it was a public sector entity which comes under MIT now, but initially it was Department of Electronics and IT. SCL is responsible for both research and development, fab work, for specialized organizations like DRDO, Defense and Space, which cannot be offloaded to other countries and other foreign companies where manufacturing of chips can be done. It started out initially with about 800 nanometer technology chip and has gone up to 180 nanometer chips in the recent past, which is somewhere in the middle of 2015 or 16. And it is now in the process of modernization. In the last 2 or 3 years, enough funding has been allocated to Semiconductor Limited, and eventually it will become the only and the most advanced public sector semiconductor manufacturing unit in the country, doing manufacturing for specialized organizations. As of February 2023, the government has announced a package of about $1.2 billion equivalent for doing R&D and creating prototypes of high-order chips, implying smaller and faster chips. Most of you would, or in fact, everybody would be aware that the smaller the chip is, the more costlier it is and the more complicated it is to manufacture. And the technology is going towards making it more smaller or miniaturizing the technology further. And coming to Fab City project, since I belong to Hyderabad, I'm aware that somewhere in 2006, Center had approved Fab City project for Hyderabad. The project was to be implemented in 2 phases. Initially, entailing about $1 billion of assembly and testing was expected to come by 2007. And phase 2 was supposed to be another investment of $2 billion equivalent. And this project unfortunately did not take off. And because the partners, international partners backed out and this project was dropped. Now coming to what's happening as far as semiconductors are concerned in India, ISM was created by Department of Electronics and now which is MIT, and it is anchored on investment-based schemes aimed at taking the semiconductors to the next level as far as India is concerned. It primarily has 4 areas where incentives are disbursed. The first one being fab and display fabs. The wafers and fabs, they get about the display fabs get about 50% of the benefits as far as the project cost is concerned. Next comes semiconductors, compound semiconductors, and also OSAT and ATMP. This company is clubbed under one heading, and basically these also get 50%. OSAT, as you all would be aware, is outsourced semiconductor assembly and testing, and ATMP is advanced packaging and test manufacturing. And these two would be eligible for same 50% subsidies along with compound semiconductors. Compound semiconductors are those which do not use silicon, and most common are germanium, selenium, and arsenic, etc. The last category is design-linked incentives. Indian companies which are into design and research and development and designing of semiconductors and get about generally in the range of about 1 to 2 crores for carrying out research in semiconductors. Well, as far as the score as of now, we have 4 manufacturing companies which are committed to going in for semiconductor manufacturing in the country. The first one is already in construction, advanced stages of construction, which is Micron. It is coming up in Gujarat, and it will be an OSAT unit. Next 3 have been announced about 6 months back. Tata Electronics Private Limited has committed for 2 semiconductor units. One will be with PSMC, which is Power Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation from Taiwan, and this will be in Gujarat. This unit will be manufacturing wafers and will be an advanced wafer manufacturing unit. The second one with Tata is ATMP facility, which will be coming up in Morigaon in Assam. The first one is, as far as Tata is concerned, the construction has already started, and advanced discussions are on in Assam for its second unit. The fourth unit which is coming up is CG Power, which is a part of Murugappa Group, and which has signed a joint venture with Renesas Electronics Corporation of Japan and Stars Microelectronics of Thailand. This will be establishing a OSAT unit in Gujarat. These 4 have been approved under ISM and have been sanctioned for incentive of 50% of the project cost. Location, TEPL Tata Electronics fab facility will be in Gujarat. CG Power, which is Murugappa Group, again will be in Gujarat. The TEPL will be in Sanand, and CG project is in Dhulera. And Micron, which I've already mentioned, is the first unit, which is already in the advanced stage of construction. That is again at Dhulera. And SCL, which is India-based public sector unit, is in Mohali. And the second Tata unit is coming up in Assam. Coming to Go Gujarat Push by Center, is it good or bad? This is my personal view. Initially, it might appear that the step is against non-BJP ruled states, but I kind of disagree with this because semiconductors are coming up in a big way for the first time in the country. There's some certain amount of ecosystem which needs to be developed so that these units get whatever they require without any hindrance, so that the semiconductor initiative is successful in the country. It's easier to monitor and address these issues cropping up in the semiconductor space if they are close by and the government can have a close look. If they are dispersed over 4 or 5 locations in different states, it could be a problem because the federal government might be kind of helpful, but then if the state is not able to give the committed resources to the organization, it might not come through and the unit might fail, and bringing a kind of hindrance to new units coming in. They would probably be discouraged to come in when they hear that, say, for example, XYZ has failed, and there'll be issues on new units coming up. Whereas being concentrated in a particular area, it's easier for the federal government and the government at the provincial level also to understand and address issues as and when they come up. And these sites are not just for factories, but I personally feel that they can be seen as seeds for future technology ecosystem building and are expected to attract more investment, talent, and research initiatives. In the next phase, the units could be permitted to come up in other progressive states like the state where I am from, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. I mean, these are not limited by number. These are just the states which I feel are more progressive. And next phase could be these states where the next set of units might be permitted. Now, these locations are chosen because of their existing infrastructure, which can expedite semiconductor fab setups and also would reduce initial cost, basically, since it is already an electronic ecosystem which exists in these places. They also nurture thriving semiconductor ecosystem, encouraging collaborations and innovations. Again, basically, it comes down to the fact that they are progressive states. They have electronics ecosystem already existing in their states, in the parks, and it's easier for the outputs to be taken over by the electronics manufacturing units. Furthermore, these regions offer an abundance of skilled talent, which is very important for semiconductors, including engineers, researchers, which are essential for fab success. One point what I would like to mention here is about 60 to 70% of fab-led research comes out of Bangalore and Hyderabad. So that is another reason why the next set of units could probably be guided towards these states. And also, a point worth noting here is about 25 to 30% of the world's research R&D in semiconductors is done in these two states. And these sites aren't just for current factories, but as I mentioned, they are seeds for future technological ecosystems. And once these units are up and running, it will be easier for other units to come up. Now, coming to way ahead, we have 4 units which are already existing. I mean, in the sense they're already in the process of construction, and the units are in the process of coming up. 18 proposals are under consideration under the India Semicon Mission, which is expected to give them subsidy. It's my personal opinion that at least 4 more semiconductor manufacturing units and 13 chip assembly units are likely to kind of be given a nod in this. At least 4 are likely to be done in the next few months. Basically, the 100-day initiative of the new government, they have to clear some units, and I expect about 4 of them will be cleared. And what I've mentioned here is where 2024 began will not be very tense for India's ambitious semiconductor program. It will be a kind of encouraging space for other countries and other units from other countries to come and invest in, as far as India is concerned. However, a word of caution, India faces tough competition from well-established global players like the US, Europe, who are also providing huge subsidies to international units coming up and putting up the units in these countries respectively, like the US Chip Acts and Chip Act. The European EU also is kind of encouraging units to come up, and Italy is going to be the first country to be getting wafer unit in its near vicinity. And competing with established industry giants like TSMC, Intel, Tower Semiconductor, etc., necessitates long-term commitment rather than seeing it as short-term challenge. It's not that the next 5 years will come and support the semiconductor units. It's a long-term commitment of about 10 to 15 years at the least, till the time the technology in the country gets mature. So it would not be kind of viable in case one government says, let us put up semiconductors, next feels that it is not to be encouraged. It's business, and if they want, they can come and put up units. So if they don't want, they may move. It's not going to work. So long-term commitments are necessary for these strategic units to come up and become viable. To thrive in this competitive landscape, India must strategically invest in semiconductor R&D. We are already reasonably well placed as far as R&D is concerned, but more is required because technology changes very fast in this space. And manufacturing capabilities also need to be nurtured, and supportive ecosystem for innovation and growth needs to be provided, which the current government is already doing. Coming to specific requirements for semicon units in India, semiconductor fabs demand critical resources, which include huge amount of clean water, uninterrupted power supplies from a number of grids so that there is no downtime, zero downtime. Specialized human expertise is required, which is not available across the world, but then we are in a comfortable position because we have sufficient R&D exposure available. These resources can be kind of retuned and be utilized, or they can become train the trainer kind of resources who can train the future human resources which are required in semiconductor space. Physical incentives to be competitive globally. When CHIP Act permits about 40 to 60% of project cost to be subsidized, unless we do it at least in equal measures, I don't think we're going to be viable as far as at a global level is concerned. Next is conducive business climate, which is very important. These units should not have any hindrance in their operations. They will be working 24/7, 365 days. There could be no downtimes as far as employee unrest and other things are concerned. Security-wise, these are very critical, and only those states where such conducive climate can be provided will be where these units are likely to find their way. Coming to incentives, what are granted by federal government or the central government is 50% of the project cost incurred towards plant and machinery is provided, and this is provided as pari passu basis. Basically, if the unit is putting up, say, $100, the state also will be putting in $100 till it comes to the limit of 50%. So net 50% of fixed capital cost is provided by central government. Coming to provincial governments or state governments, 50% of the amount authorized by central is generally what I have seen is kind of permitted or is provided by state governments, which works out to 25% of the investment of a firm is kind of reimbursed or can be given in pari passu by the state government. So what happens is at least 75% of the cost of plant and machinery or the fixed capital cost is given to you as incentives by either the central government or the state government. The land is also provided at subsidized rate. The land parcels close to big cities have become very expensive, and only those parcels which are kind of viable as far as industries are concerned are the ones which will be taken up by these units. Say, for example, in Indian rupees, if you give land at 5 or 7 crores an acre, it's not viable for this company because the land requires huge parcels of land. At least 50 to 100 acres is what oversight unit would require, and it would be in hundreds of acres as far as a display fab or a wafer unit would require. Power and water, again, to be provided at subsidized rate because huge amount of power, water will be required, and power also would be required for these units. Again, companies would be requesting pari passu payment because incentives by and large take a lot of time to be reimbursed, so they would be requiring the incentives to be given at the time of construction itself. Then free skilling by government bodies is what is kind of offered by some states. So that would be a good initiative when a state gives the required skilling to the resources who are going to work at these plants. Then in case the unit takes a loan for the capital, basically term loan, this probably the interest subvention is what the companies would expect. Since I work with Telangana government, I could mention as to how Telangana government is tackling this issue of getting semiconductor units to our state. We already have a huge number of we also have a huge number of Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100. We have Amazon, we have Google, Meta, Apple, Intel, Qualcomm, and the works. Any big name you think of is has a presence in Hyderabad. So it's a good place to be in for semiconductor manufacturing because offtake will be possible from this state. We have a very good infrastructure available. Excuse me. We have very good infrastructure available, and the best part is most of the industrial parks are close by to the city, and you could actually stay in the city, go for your work in the morning and come back and stay in the city again. Unlike some states where the parks are about 150, 200 kilometers from the main city, we are lucky because we can give you a parcel of land very close to the city. We have an outer ring road which garlands the entire city. So basically, they're radial roads, so you don't have to travel too much in the city. Just take a radial road, hit the ring road, and travel to the next radial road and get off from there. So basically, travel is kind of very comfortable compared to some other cities like Bombay and Bangalore. And we are having another ring road coming up at about 70 kilometers from the city, which is going to be called the regional ring road. The advantage here would be that as the city grows, we are already catering for the next 50 years by making another ring road so that commute is not a problem. Of course, we have Rajiv Gandhi International Airport available in our city, which again caters for domestic and international cargo and travel, and it's connected to most of the cities across the world. Coming up to the innovation ecosystem, we have T-Works in our state, which is a prototype developing center, where you go with an idea and come out with a product. Basically, it enables you to kind of think out of the box, make your product, come out with a product, and then you can scale it up on your own. Similarly, we have got T-Hub, which is innovation campus. Probably you could call it the innovation capital for the world, because this is going to be a very big innovation and incubation center, unlike anything else in the world. Then we have Rich, which again is an innovation center for VCs and angel investors to connect with the investors, and also it deals with medical devices and pharma sector. We have again the Telangana State Innovation Cell, again, which supports aspiring innovators, startups, and change makers. And for women who are hesitant or who would like to be incubated separately as far as their startups are concerned, we got Women Hub or VHub, which is kind of doing a good job as far as helping women startups to scale up. Coming to the requirements of semiconductor units, large land parcels. Coming to infrastructure availability, we have large land parcels available with Telangana. Unlike some states, what had happened was Hyderabad was ruled by Nizams who had a concept of keeping the lands with themselves, unlike other states which were ruled by the Britishers who believed in offloading land and collecting revenue from there. So basically, when Hyderabad joined the Indian Union, the lands came to Andhra, initially Andhra, now it's with Telangana government. So these land parcels are available for industrial areas and are very close to the city of Hyderabad. So as far as land parcel being available for investors in semiconductor space are concerned, land is no hindrance as far as availability of land is concerned. Similarly, surplus of power is available in the state. In the last 10 years, we have built up enough power units so that sufficient power is available. And we have also new concept of open access coming up. So units are we'll be happy if units take power from other utilities or other private sector, or even generate their own power and utilize that. Coming to water, again, we were a water power state, but today we are water surplus with enough water being available from Godavari and from Nagarjuna Sagar also to cater for next 50 years for the state. And out of this water which is available, 10% is reserved primarily for industrial purpose. So basically, net, I would say, infra-wise, Telangana is a good state to come and invest in as far as the resources are concerned. Coming to skill, very important for semicon units, since we do not have semiconductor units and have only R&D setup in our country. We have a huge number of colleges which train or which churn out engineers. And we have an organization called Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge, which is a government of Telangana initiative. And this is the connect as far as knowledge level and expertise level is concerned for the students with the industry. And we take information from manufacturing units which are coming up with Telangana and train the college students and manpower accordingly so that they are job ready when they finish the course at task. So basically, when a unit comes in, they give the requirement to task as the construction begins, and within a year or so, by the time the unit is ready, we have the engineers or we have the manpower ready to go and work in this units. Coming to, again, the skilled workforce, we anticipate Telangana to be a developed state by 2032, and towards this, we expect huge number of manufacturing units to come in. And what we have done is we have a plan to generate about 1.5 million skilled workforce by 2032, which will be job ready and which will be available for the units which are coming up and putting up their manufacturing units in Telangana. Coming to the semicon ecosystem, we have Foxconn, which is currently here to make hearables and wearables, and is likely to generate about 25,000 jobs in our state. Keynes Technologies, semiconductor OSAT and compound semiconductor manufacturing facility is coming up in Telangana. However, they're yet awaiting ISM approval for their project. We have AMD, we have Intel, Micron, NVIDIA, Qualcomm. These are all units which do R&D and are design centers for the world for semiconductors. Otherwise, again, in the value chain, we have Micromax, Radiant, Safran, Orient Electric. We have Toshiba, Resolute, Schneider, Oppo. You name a company and it's there. So basically, as far as value chain is concerned, upstream and downstream, both we have units available. Coming to advantages of coming in Telangana, basically we have a single window system wherein you just have to kind of create a account with TS Pass, which is a government mandated unit, which gives you permissions for all this across the spectrum. Approvals are given in the TS Pass itself, and which is mandated by law to and timely approvals. In case you miss out or the government misses out on giving you an approval, if you get a deemed approval, you can start that particular activity, considering to have given deemed approval. So basically, it is mandated by law that timely approvals have to be given, and there are units which have started functioning without approval coming in because of the deemed approval clause. And you could actually sit anywhere in the world and file your clearances, and you get clearances on online itself. Coming to land, enough land available free of all encumbrances with red category environmental clearance is available. Skilled workforce task I've already briefed provides the required skilling knowledge. In case task does not have instructors who are required for a particular skill impartation or imparting a particular skill, they get it from outside, and based on inputs of the manufacturing unit, they get the trainers from outside and train the workforce. Very friendly labor policies. Last 10 years, we haven't had even one minor unrest in the country as far as operating manufacturing units are concerned. Women are permitted to work in all three shifts, and it's a kind of good place to be in as far as manufacturing is concerned. We have access to renewable energy is provided, and I've already mentioned open access is available. Logistics-wise, we are a landlocked state, we understand that, and towards this to kind of cater for port not being available, we have something called transport subsidy, wherein the goods which are brought in from the ports are subsidized 50%. In the first year, you get 60% subsidy, and you get this for 6 years. Basically, what happens is in the first year, you get 60% subsidy, 50, 40, 30, 20 in the 5 years. And we have a provision for utilization of 20% of the land allotted to be converted to dormitories. Again, this was a request which is coming from companies operating out of Taiwan, because they would want some workforce to be situated very close to the company, and this is permitted. For giving you power which is uninterrupted, we give you power from dual grid so that there is no downtime at all, and there is no power outages in this state. Water I've already covered. We have two rivers flowing, one from north and one from south of Hyderabad. This water is taken over during the rainy seasons, pumped up to the plateau, and for the rest of the year, this reservoirs supply water to the state for agriculture, for drinking, and also for industry. With this, I have finished, and if there are any questions, I would be glad to answer. Thank you so much for giving this time to me to speak to you.